Ilekam officials have expressed their readiness to successfully organize the October 7 presidential poll in the northwest and southwest regions despite security threat. The assurance was given this day in Yaoundé at the end of their 4th session of rights. Plus, Public Works Minister Emmanuel Nganon Jomisi has dismissed social media reports that his ministry spent 45 billion francs to construct a 9-kilometer road and not 26 kilometers. Those are my list story, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and thanks for joining me. I am Henry Wana at the anchor in Douala. Board members of Elections Cameroon have met in Yaoundé today to evaluate level of preparedness of Cameroon's electoral body ahead of the October 7 presidential polls. The president of the Electoral Council, Eno Abrams Egbe, gave some amendments for persons in the northwest and southwest regions to vote. Veronica Aji reports.
After 15 days of touring the 10 regions of Cameroon, board members of Elections Cameroon are seeking a way forward for a successful October 7 presidential race.
This is the 4th session as of right. This session is intended to evaluate the activities on the ground, in the field, in respect to the preparation of elections. At this moment, the board members are coming after 15 days of touring all the 10 regions. We are here now to evaluate all the different operational activities that took place within this period. That is registration, distribution of cards, the level of preparedness of the Elections Cameroon at the level of the regions is going to be examined right now. This is the work that the General Directorate does. So we are going to evaluate it and see how far we are.
During the 4th session of right meeting in Yaoundé this day, Elecam board members equally exchanged on accessibility and security of polling stations, especially in the northwest and southwest regions.
Electoral materials have been distributed, electoral cards have been distributed, and we have also some other activities that pertain to it. Also, and more we are preparing for the National Consultation Forum. This period was a moment where we went to discuss with the local leaders, because everybody cannot come to Yaoundé. So the same consultation that has been taking place in the 10 regions will be done at the level of the Yaoundé during the National Consultation Forum. So most of the problems at stake, especially in the northwest and southwest, we have particular problems because of the concentration of polling stations into polling centers. That was subject of discussion, and all the stakeholders accepted and agreed that because of security measures, we have to put polling stations in polling centers where they can be accessible, where the security is assured, security in terms of protection of men and materials.
Polling stations, journalists were told, shall be stationed where everyone can have access. The August 24th come together of Elecam board members falls in line with a series of preparations for a free and fair election in Cameroon this 2018.
Joshua Nabangi OC, flag bearer of the leading opposition political party, and Akere Muna of the FDE party have both presented different ways of handling critical issues in the country if given a chance in a 2D. As John Paul Sama reports, these two candidates seem to be having a similar vision for this great nation called Cameroon. His report.
The die has been cast and the political programs have started to resurface as the presidential hopefuls are in a desperate mode to convince the electorate with the best of manifestos. The most recent of those are of the SDF candidates Joshua OC and Akere Muna of the FDP party. The two present several differences in tackling critical issues in the country, as the man known for the Now movement proposes an educational system where primary, secondary as well as tertiary education will be brought closer to the people, and an educational system which meets the needs of the job market. But the SDF frontline man is proposing a free and compulsory education for the first cycle and the transformation of the country's educational system by the development and promotion of educational programs and infrastructures. On the health domain, the OC manifesto is given the opportunity for Cameroonians to have access to free prenatal and postnatal consultations until 2 years, and also cater for cesarean delivery, while introducing a health coverage of up to 500,000 francs CFA per household annually for a premium of 1,000 francs CFA per person monthly. But some of the 50 points of Muna on health is to put in place a universal health insurance plan while bringing the 8 centers closer to the marketplaces in communities for primary services, and secondary health services will be put in place in divisions. The jurist in his presidential program elaborates on ways of improving the private sector by providing support to small and medium-sized enterprises and the creation of an independent authority to manage natural resources. But on the 24 points of OC, the first 2 focuses on the increment of the minimum wage rate to 160,000 francs CFA over 5 years and the doubling of the salaries of civil servants within the said period. While the SDF aspirants also plan to reduce the size of the government to a minimum of 20 ministers, the FDP party candidate is going for the reorganization of the Justice Ministry, attaching it to the Penitentiary Administration, as well as the National Police to the service of the Ministry of Territorial Administration, which will be called the Interior Ministry. Aside the differences in the management of the country, these 2 presidential candidates share a lot of similarities on certain issues like housing, amongst others.
Back to one of our lead story. Public Works Minister Emmanuel Njumisi has rubbished social media reports that his ministry spent over 45 billion francs to construct a 9-kilometer road in the country. He was speaking in Yaoundé at a press conference to clear the air on the issue. Darlene Feje report.
Emmanuel Njumisi, Cameroon's Minister of Public Works, has given the firm assurance that ongoing infrastructural projects in the economic capital will be executed before the 2019 African Cup of Nations to ease movement of persons. Meeting with pressmen this 23rd of August in Yaoundé, the minister revealed that the execution rate of works on the second bridge over the Voui stands at 94%, and complementary works to facilitate access to the bridge have witnessed a 65% execution. The first phase of works at the west entrance into Douala, from the Douala 4 roundabout to the Bekoko Cross Road, has also witnessed a 94% realization, and the second phase will be executed once the funds are put in place. Emphasis during Thursday's press conference was also laid on works at the east entrance into the city of Douala, at the center of controversies as per the cost of the project.
Le coût d'un peu plus de 42 milliards. Il ne s'agit pas de 9 km de route.
According to Emmanuel Njumisi, 60 billion CFA francs is the cost of the already completed first phase of works at the east entrance, and the second phase of the project, to focus on a 26-kilometer stretch, is worth 62 billion CFA francs.
4 trucks belonging to the Satom company charged with the responsibility in constructing the Babaju-Bamenda Highway have been bent down by unknown men. According to Governor Adovlele Lafrique of the Northwest region, the act was being carried out by the terrorists. Gajoy picks up that story from Bamenda.
The ongoing Anglophone crisis is gradually taking a different shift as people no longer seem to know what can benefit the struggle. No matter the glaring differences, roads and some facilities will always remain a necessity. One now begins to wonder if a road company like Satom, that has been working on the stretch of road from Babajo to Bamenda and within the town for the good of the public, wakes up to a sad reality caused by unknown gunmen, leaving trucks burnt, then the town is no longer safe. The governor, who came to see things for himself, had this to say.
Eyewitness of that terrorist attack of the structures, the trucks of Satom. You should call them by their name. They are terrorists, and they try by so doing to distract and to destroy the morale of the workers. Luckily, for what the manager of the company explained to me, yes, they couldn't do it. They are ready to continue the work. And I would like to seize the opportunity that is given to me today to reassure all the workers of Satom, the population, that the head of state are given firm instructions to the security services to neglect nothing to secure the work that are ongoing in this stretch of the route between Babaju and Bamenda.
The project coordinator evaluates the damage so far.
Well, I want to thank Mr. Governor of the Northwest region and all the authorities to assist us after this drama that we faced yesterday. And after which we lost trucks. And luckily, there was no victims.
With the terrifying realities, one would likely wonder what the future holds.
In education news, dealers in second-hand books in Douala are complaining of the non-availability of the prescribed textbooks in the market to permit them better serve Cameroonians less than 2 weeks to the start of the new school year. Darlene Fejo visited some of them this morning and now report.
Second-hand book sports, the all new routine for some families in the economic capital.
When I was small, my father had the habit of coming here to buy my books.
A choice motivated by several factors.
And I have learned from him that here I can find most of all the books. While when I go to the first shop, I find this book and I have to run to another first shop to find another again and again, repeat this all over. It's tiring. When it is an old book, it's supposed to be cheaper.
Visiting a second-hand book spot at Daido in the Douala 1 municipality this 24th of August, the usual hustle and bustle recorded during this period was absent, a situation which vendors partially attribute to the unavailability of some prescribed textbooks.
I was just saying that the business have not yet started. Yes, the English reader we are selling because English parents are coming. But for the French side, we are still waiting because the official books are not yet available. Yes. No, English are available. You see, those are English readers, they are available. Not all of them, but the majority. And the English side is more easier because since their readers are available, we have realized that there are not too much modification with the old ones, so we are selling. Yes. Although they are new edition, but we are doing with it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Selling already used books, they say, is tougher.
To 20%. It means that when you sell a reader of 4,000, you have 800. Normally, in a bookshop, it is like that. Yes. But we here, you need to make a, you need to convince the parents, and it took too much time because when the parents came here, it came for an old reader. You know, easy now to convince him, you see. Yes, you have to talk too much to convince him, and with that, you need to make him a percentage, to give him a percentage of 5%, 3, 4, according to what he avoids.
These vendors of second-hand books in Douala pray for better sales once all the prescribed textbooks will be available.
Despite the availability of few prescribed textbooks at bookshops in Bamenda, we are being told that parents are still portraying a lukewarm attitude in purchasing them before the start of the new school year. Lovebe, report from Bamenda.
Just few of the textbooks found in the new book list are available in some bookshops in Bamenda. The others are nowhere to be found. Book dealers have begun blaming the publishers.
It is very difficult to get to a good number of them this time because the minister approved the list very late. And to that effect, we cannot, the companies, they cannot produce the books soon. So we are still waiting for the company. And the school is reopening a few days ago. So, and you know, as the minister approved those lists, it gave some of the companies most of the books. One company is having about 30 titles. So to that effect, some of them have very little titles, and it makes the company now not to produce the books in time. Some companies or some publishers have already indicated, and they have sent their books to me. I have these are the ones that I have for now, that I'm still expecting for others to be produced and sent.
Concerning the sudden change of the book list, book dealers are not happy with the government.
The government would have thought it wise and maybe inform us that they have to change these books in a year's time, so that we should say, look at the old books that are packed in the bookshop. They are not buying them, you see. So they would have informed us so that actually closed most of us into this business.
With the few textbooks available, are parents showing up to purchase them?
The business is very slow. It's sad to say so because this political crisis have really affected the book business.
Weeks back, bookshops and book dealers complained about the absence of the new textbooks in the market. Now that few of them are already in circulation, parents are still indifferent. With this attitude, one still doubts the effectiveness of back to school in September.
Meme Division, activities that used to characterize this period of back-to-school preparation is practically absent. For sure, the reason is obvious, as uncertainty of an effective school year in their division looms in the atmosphere, according to denizens. Daniela Neba reports from Kumba.
A week to the start of the 2018-2019 academic year in Cameroon, one is yet to see signs of school reopening in Kumba, the chief town of Meme Division. Activities that used to characterize back to school in this metropolis are yet to be noticed, creating doubts in the minds of inhabitants if school will reopen in this part of the country come Monday, September 3rd. Passing through some school premises, the market and some dressmaking shops, these areas during this period in previous years used to be very busy with last-minute preparations. The situation is, however, contrary this year. This has kept most parents who are unable to afford the means of sending their children to school in safe areas worried if their children will go to school this year.
Yet because things are not moving. These are sites. I'm a technician, I'm not a civil servant, and there is no work here in Kumba where I lived. Most offices, government offices are locked, private offices are locked, private job sites are locked. We don't have work. So we are trying to look for the government that we try to see over our problem, so we should have work, so we try to see what to do and send our children back to school.
Meanwhile, others who can afford the means have already sent their children out of Kumba. Some have, however, lamented on the massive departure of Kumba inhabitants, making it difficult for them to carry out their businesses and raise money for back to school.
I cannot say I've prepared, because the way you are seeing things in this town, especially this Kumba, things are very, very rough. I'm not a civil servant, I'm just a technician. Things are rough. When you go to the park there, you see how people are living. They are living, we don't know where they are going. You see mattresses are going up, mattresses are coming down. I even went to one of the schools of my children, JTA Kake. Everybody, you cannot even see somebody to ask whether there will be school this year. So we are just afraid.
The escalating situation of the crisis has provoked many to resort in serious prayers and fasting in order for the government to implement an appropriate solution so that their children can go back to school.
Away from education, let's talk something different in this newscast. Flood could be avoided in Cameroon if construction norms are respected. According to an environmental expert, the construction of drains should be accompanied by an adequate urbanization plan in Cameroon. Veronica Aji.
The resurgence of water in houses and some major streets in the city of Douala after every rainfall, according to some environmental experts,
le même schéma, c'est-à-dire on a conçu la ville sur tout,
is caused by anarchical construction of houses as well as the uncivic behavior of many.
Ce qui fait qu'aujourd'hui Douala, c'est 5% de croissance démographique.
To Didier Yimkwa, the construction of a proper drainage system in the economic capital must take into consideration.
On peut construire des drains, je veux bien, mais que va-t-on faire des populations qui vivent tout autour?
The topography, demographics and resettlement areas for persons that would have their homes destroyed.
De ces drains-là, ce qui fait que lorsqu'il y a moins de gouttes d'eau, les eaux se déversent, il y a une inondation.
The city of Douala, it is estimated, receives about 100 people annually, but a good number of them live below standards. Putting up a drainage system is essential.
Je pense que l'État a l'obligation de mettre à la disposition de sa population des logements décents.
But the government, he says, should provide decent accommodation to its citizens.
Que les populations se disciplinent, parce qu'après tout, c'est les populations vulnérables qui souffrent le plus.
As for the population, taking care of their gutters in the meantime would be a plus.
Let's now get news out of Cameroon with the VOA.
The South African land reforms are intended to address the historical injustices from the colonial times when black farmers were not allowed to own or rent farms. More than 70% of agricultural land remains in the hands of white farmers. The post-apartheid government has promised to rectify these injustices with a series of measures, including land redistribution and expropriation of farms without compensation. A recent Fox television report on the issue prompted Trump to say in a tweet Thursday that he asked his Secretary of State to closely study the South Africa land and farm seizures and expropriations and the large-scale killing of farmers. South African officials and political leaders were quick to respond.
There is no white genocide here. It's an absolute rubbish to say there is white genocide. There is black genocide in the USA.
Some have accused Trump of trying to stir racial conflict in South Africa. Others have said that he is trying to draw away attention from his own troubles. But some South Africans welcomed Trump's tweet.
We know now what the catastrophic course is that our government is taking, so we need the international community to send out a warning to say it is not in the interest of the country, it's not in the interest of the country's economy. Rethink your position, and I think Mr. Trump's tweet was a great start.
For many, the reform brings to mind neighboring Zimbabwe, where land expropriation and persecution of white farmers led to a sharp decline of agriculture and subsequent economic woes. Pressed on the issue at a news media briefing Thursday, the State Department spokesperson said the situation in South Africa cannot be compared to Zimbabwe.
It may be easy for some to try to draw a comparison, but there are very big differences. In Zimbabwe, we saw the government there squash civil society, shut down the media from doing their jobs and reporting, and destroyed an independent judiciary, and we have not seen that happen in South Africa.
But she said the expropriation of land without compensation could send South Africa down the wrong path.
We continue to encourage a peaceful and transparent public debate about what we consider to be a very important issue, and the South Africans certainly do as well.
The State Department official warned that poorly implemented land policies could be detrimental to political, social and economic issues in South Africa. Zlarica Hoke, VOA News, Washington.
Let's now talk sport football in this newscast. The annual CAF Club ranking this year, 2018, shows that Cotosport of Garoua is the best Cameroonian club after accumulating 594 points between 2009 and 2017, while Tico United is ranked higher than Fuvur of Baham and Aigle Royal of the Menua. John Posama reports.
Cotosport of Garoua is Cameroon's best-ranked club in the latest CAF publication of clubs in the continent. The current League One champions and finalists of the CAF Champions League in 2008, semi-finalists in 2013 are ranked 10th in Africa and first in Cameroon with an accumulated points total of 594 since 2009. The Garoua-based side has moved from the 8th spot they occupied last year to where they find themselves now. The same scenario for Union Sportive of Douala, who dropped from the 63rd spot last year to the 80th this year, a fall which arises from the poor run of form at the continental level.
Last year we have the Cameroonian teams in the African inter-club competitions with a lack of results. That does not allow the CAF ranking to improve the Cameroonian teams in better position than last time. See the Cameroonian teams even at the preliminary steps of the competition, of the African competitions, been eliminated by the teams from Chad, Equatorial Guinea, Gabon, Rwanda, and so on. So the results of the Cameroonian teams at the African competitions are not very good.
Edingsport of the Leke, on the other hand, witnessed a drastic improvement, rising from the 350th spot they occupied last year to 150. But if Cameroonian clubs hope to improve their standings in the next ranking, then a solid performance in the continental competition next season is imperative.
It is very difficult now to see the Cameroonian teams at the same level like Al Ali or the Moroccan teams or Algerian teams, because we here in Cameroon we don't have the same financial with power like them. So many things, we have to do many things, starting from the politics of the football policies to improve, and after that the behavior, the attitudes of the teams, presidents and so on, and obviously many things also to do in the training sessions, in the providing of the infrastructures and so on. And also we can conclude by saying our Cameroonian footballers are still in problem because of their self-doing.
The ranking of African football clubs is established according to the result of clubs in the CAF Champions League and updated over the matches from the second round by a system of increasing points each season, while the results of the Confederations Cup have been counted since 2009 from the knockout stages.
That sport report brings us to the end of today's English Primetime Newscast on Spectrum Television. We thank you all immensely for your kind attention. See you in our fortnight. Have a splendid weekend in the company of our programs. Bye-bye.